You know, artificial intelligence feels like it's changing everything, right? But behind all that magic, there's this massive hidden cost. The incredible amount of power that AI needs is pushing our energy grid, a system that's barely changed in decades, right to its absolute breaking point. Okay, let's get into it. And look, this isn't some far off problem we can deal with later. This is happening right now. A battle is brewing between our ambitions for technology and the physical limits of our world, and it's playing out in towns all across the country. I mean, this has gone way beyond just a tech issue. When you have top political figures starting to sound the alarm on grid capacity, you know this conversation has officially hit the mainstream. And the core concern? It's pretty simple, and it affects every single one of us. Is the price for all this AI progress going to be a massive spike in our electricity bills? And it is not just talk. Take what happened in Indianapolis. A billion-dollar data center project actually got shut down because residents protested. They were worried about what a huge new facility would do to their local power supply, and yeah, to their wallets. This is a really clear sign that people are starting to push back. So just how big is this power demand we're talking about? Okay, get ready for this number. 116 gigawatts. That's the power needed just for the data centers that are already planned or being built. Now, to put that into perspective for you, 116 gigawatts is 15% of the entire peak electricity load for the United States. We are talking about a truly monumental jump in power demand. And if you really want to see the shock to the system, just look at this chart. For 20 years, power demand in the US was basically flat. We kind of got out of the habit of building big new power infrastructure. And now, bam! AI is forcing us to add this colossal new demand in just the next 3 years. The scale of this change, it's just completely unprecedented. So all this new demand, it leads to one inevitable question, right? Who is going to pay for all of it? Because that strain on the grid, it translates directly into a strain on all of our bank accounts. And it's already happening. Across the country, prices are up 6% in just the last year. But in some places, like Maine, they've shot up by a whopping 40%. Now, AI isn't the only reason, but this huge new demand is landing on a system where costs were already going up. And get this, in just the first 6 months of this year, utilities got the green light for $29 billion in rate hikes. That's double the amount from the same time last year. So yeah, the costs to upgrade the system are already being passed along to customers. So to deal with this, utilities are basically creating new rules for their biggest customers, the data centers. They're asking for things like minimum power charges and are trying to lock them into really long contracts, like 10 or 12 years, just to make sure the huge cost of building new infrastructure gets covered. But the tech industry isn't just standing by and watching this happen. They see the problem and they're actually making some massive proactive moves to try and solve it. And companies like AWS are tackling this head-on with some incredibly ambitious goals. They've already hit their 100% renewable energy match years ahead of schedule. Now they're shooting for net zero carbon by 2040, pouring billions into green energy, and even pioneering next-gen nuclear power. And that brings us to these things called SMRs. The easiest way to think of them is as advanced mini-nuclear reactors. The key is that they can provide a steady, 24/7 stream of carbon-free power, which is exactly what a power-hungry data center needs. It's a huge part of the long-term solution. But you know, it's not just about finding new sources of power. It's also about using less of it. And the pace of innovation here is it's wild. In only 2 years, NVIDIA has made its hardware 30 times more energy efficient for the same AI job. That's a 97% drop in the power needed to get the same result. Incredible. Okay, so up to this point, AI has pretty much been the villain of our story, right? The big power hog. But this is where the plot takes a really interesting twist. What if AI isn't just the problem? What if it's also the solution? Think about it this way. The side effects of AI are just staggering. It's already being used to make factories and building cooling systems way more efficient, cutting their energy use by 30 to 40%. The energy AI helps save across the rest of the economy could soon be way bigger than the energy it uses itself. And this is leading to a fundamental shift in thinking. The old view was that data centers were just a constant, dumb drain on the power grid. But the new reality? Well, they can actually be flexible assets that help keep the grid stable by powering down when the system is under a lot of stress. And hey, this isn't just some theory. Look at this real-world example from a metadata center in Virginia. During a heat wave, the price of electricity suddenly spiked from $30 to over $1,700. So what did the data center do? It slashed its power use by 90%. In 1 hour, that move saved the company hundreds of thousands of dollars, and, more importantly, it helped stabilize the power grid for everybody else.
The potential here is absolutely enormous. If all data centers could be this flexible for just a few dozen hours every year, we could free up 100 gigawatts of power on our existing grid. That's almost enough to cancel out all that new demand we were talking about at the start.
So we have this massive problem, and we've got some pretty incredible potential solutions. But there's a catch, and that catch is all about a critical mismatch in timing. Here's the whole conflict in a nutshell. The demand is immediate. We need that 116 gigawatts of power in the next 2 to 3 years. But the big game-changing solutions, like those small modular reactors, they won't really start coming online until the 2030s. And this is what has industry experts really concerned. As Exushu Zhou from Wood Mackenzie puts it, there's a real risk of a power crisis in that gap. That 5 to 10-year window is what they're really worried about. The challenge now is just to figure out how we bridge that gap. Which leaves us right here with this final question. AI has created one of the greatest infrastructure challenges of our time. But with its incredible power to optimize, to predict, and to innovate, it also might be giving us the very tools we need to solve it. The race is on.